Firearm history is paved with strange designs. As a Glock owner, I've never understood the whole Glocks are ugly thing. Sure, they're utilitarian in nature and don't have the beauty of a fine 1911 or an old Colt revolver, but surely there are uglier handguns out there. So, we did a little research, and it turns out there have been a lot of ugly handguns throughout the course of history. In fact, we have found many ridiculous experimental designs that are nothing short of downright hideous. Here are 10 of the ugliest ones of the bunch. Mateba Auto Revolver MTR-8. The Mateba Auto Revolver looks more like something you'd see Sylvester Stallone wielding in some future dystopian movie than a firearm in existence today. But the Mateba is a very real, semi-automatic revolver that's chambered in .357 Magnum, .44 Magnum, and .454 Castle. As an added bonus, the .357 can also shoot .38 Special, so I guess it has that going for it. But at nearly 3 pounds in weight, we're wondering who this hefty handgun was marketed for and what practical use it could possibly have. There are a few different models, but they all look very strange. If this type of weird gun appeals to you, be prepared to pay a pretty penny. You can often find Matebas going for anywhere from $1,700 to $2,500. FP45 Liberator. The FP45 Liberator has to be the contender for the ugliest firearm in history, pistol or long gun. Chambered only in .45 ACP, this single-shot pistol came at the tiny cost of just $2.10 per unit back in 1942. Yes, this is a World War II firearm. Now, you may be wondering what practical use such a crummy handgun could possibly have in wartime, but it was actually a pretty clever idea that went into the FP45. The US Army manufactured 1 million and planned to drop them into Nazi-occupied areas of Europe. The idea was for resistance fighters or members of the populace to stealthily take out a soldier from the opposing army with the Liberator. The fighter would then steal the enemy's weapon and continue the fight with a better firearm. The other thought behind the FP45 Liberator was psychological. Initially, war strategists hoped to drop so many behind enemy lines the Nazis could never recover them all and would leave them constantly watching their backs for armed citizens in these occupied areas. But war strategists ultimately decided against mass drops. Some were given to Greek and French resistance fighters, but most were believed to be melted down into scrap metal, presumably for other, more important uses in the wartime effort. As crummy as these guns were, they've since become a legend of World War II and a collector's item. You'd be hard-pressed to find one for less than $1,000 these days. Dartik Model 1500. Good lord, what is going on here? This cartoonish-looking handgun was the brainchild of inventor David Dartik in 1958 when he patented a new type of round called the Dartik Tround. Yes, that is, Tround, with a T. The 1500 was designed to fire this new round out of an open-chamber revolver design. Dartik continued patenting similar strange triangular round designs like this for decades, and released several different model types that shot different types of Trounds. But the handguns just never took off for quite some obvious reasons. Sometimes it's best not to try to reinvent the wheel, you know? Shattuck Unique. The Unique is the late example of the concealable pocket and palm pistols which had become popular in the 19th century. Produced by the Shattuck Company of Hatfield, Massachusetts, the Unique was essentially a 4-shot palm derringer. Notably, it was actually designed by Oscar F. Mossberg, later founder of O.F. Mossberg & Sons. The pistols had a double-action-only trigger with a hinged barrel assembly with a latch at the 12 o'clock position on top of the pistol. The weapon was designed specifically for pocket carry, with Mossberg patent even explaining that the arm may be fired while held in the pocket, there being no parts extending beyond the frame to interfere with this operation. The Unique's ergonomics are particularly interesting, with its trigger comprising of a large block on the underside of the pistol, which was pulled up, so the firearms had to be held in a horizontal rather than vertical fashion. There is no mechanical means of extraction. The Unique was in production from 1907 to 1915 and was offered in .22, .30, and .32 caliber chamberings, all had a nickel finish.